I'm here with Camelia Smith, small business owner of Renew Outlook. So, first of all, tell me a little bit about like why you got into business. Why did you get into private practice?
Um, I guess it has been a lifelong dream of mine to be able to do that. And I've pretty much been working in the field pretty much my whole career. I went to college for social work to do therapy. I have a master's. I pretty much went through the whole process. I've gotten certifications. I've gotten licensed. So I think each step was leading to this. And so I like what I do. And I know I've worked in corporate America before for a long time, actually. And I know things keep changing. Things keep changing or kept changing. And that kind of is what kind of led me to say now is the time because there were a lot of changes and then I would outgrow certain things. And so with my private practice, I'm still able to focus um, solely on what it is that's my passion that I love to do. I love to see people flourishing and coming back alive. I'm able to see that. I'm able to focus directly on getting that done, but then I'm also able to have a little more control and freedom.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more like what exactly do you do? Is for and I know for people who might not know what exactly you do, and for how long have you been doing it? Like as far as you know, what as a private practice, you're in private practice. What exactly do you do, and how long have you been doing it that way?
So in private practice, my life changed. Are you still able to see me
Yeah.
okay?
Uh,
Okay. Um, so in private practice, I'm a mental health therapist. And I have a master's degree in social work. And I have a I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Um, and so I'm able to diagnose mental illness and then treat it and then help to relieve those symptoms of the mental illness. And so pretty much that's what I do. I work with people to help relieve symptoms. And then I also provide some webinars and seminars to help educate people. And then also, I, I hope to be moving into more of that kind of uh, mentor role and kind of helping others that want to get into private practice as well.
okay, how long have you had your private practice?
So I started working on my private practice in 2013. Um that's when I got my business license and when I got my name, and then I started doing the seminars and different things of that nature. In 2016, yeah, I got a office, and so I was doing part-time private practice. And then in 2020 is when I separated from my full-time job and started my private practice full-time.
Okay, so who would you say is your best like customer? uh,
What do you mean?
if you had to pick the ideal client, is that the correct word for who you see client? Like the ideal client for you would be who? If you had to, like if I was trying to get a referral for you, like what would be the best ideal client? I know that's hard to say because you're in like in a field where you're supposed to help everybody, anybody, but I'm just asking you personally, like, who would be your best? What's your ideal client for your services?
Well, anybody that has some mental health issues, they're not feeling like themselves, you know, and really need to talk through some things, process some things. that I'm an ideal, situation from that. Now there are situations where people just want somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit deeper than that, just talking. These are the people that are more suited for my services, especially because my services are primarily paid for with insurance. And so they have to meet medical necessity, which means they have to have some type of limited functioning. Their functioning has some kind of impairment in some kind of way. Now, a lot of people still are able to function and go to work and do all of these things, but they're still not themselves in some way. And they still have to push themselves and push themselves to do certain things.
Okay. So who would be your ideal client for some of the seminars and that you do in webinars?
Well, let me say this. People, let's see, grief. So when there's a loss, let's just say there's a loss of a loved one, someone dies unexpectedly or expectedly. Those people that are not prepared can get stuck, and then they can travel other avenues. So they might start out, oh, so-and-so just died, I'm grieving this person, I'm in bereavement. And then it turns into anxiety. I'm really worried that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm worried that, something is going to happen to me. I'm scared to go out of my home, So if we just had to have an ideal client, that's probably the most clear-cut client, as far as therapy is concerned. When we talk about therapy, we're talking about healing, helping them to heal. And so I help people to find their way out, or I'm a safe place, because some people can do it themselves. They just need a place to do it. They just need somebody to talk to who's not going to look at them a certain way. Okay. So that's for that. Now with the webinars, I would say anybody that's open to understanding more about mental health or providing some self-care for themselves in order to be prevented. But people have to be open. Mental health is still a very taboo subject. So, people have to be open not only to receiving information for themselves, but even when you're around other people, rather than, again, becoming part of that taboo and putting it on them and labeling them and stigmatizing them and different things of that nature, really understanding what could be going on. People have to be open to that. And there's still a lot of stigma around mental health. And so that's usually not the case. Prevention is usually not the case. Until somebody, for lack of a better word, is knee deep in the situation.
Okay. So as a business owner, kind of as just a business owner, just talking in general, what has been some of your biggest challenges?
Well, right now I kind of am a sole proprietor and I do everything solely. So that has kind of been a challenge. It's been a rewarding and it's been beneficial to kind of know the ins and outs of everything. But as things again begin to become more, then that becomes a challenge, and trying to find that time, trying to find their space and know-how and all of that type of stuff can become a challenge. Just doing everything, and I'm probably at the limit of what I can do.
Okay. So what would you say is your biggest, out of all that, what's the biggest challenge that you would, if I had to say, let's pick one thing that you want to overcome as a challenge from being a business owner, the most urgent one would be what?
Well, right now I'm looking for an accountant.
Okay.
kind of, I'm still kind of playing with it as far as what I want them to do. But especially text related information, I would like to have some stuff taken off my plate, but I'm probably still gonna have to have some stuff kind of organized and detailed and different things like that and then pass it over. I don't know. But I would say just managing my finances and all of the other responsibilities that I have that are not necessarily therapy related.
Okay. So what's the biggest thing you've learned since you've been in business? And it doesn't have to be like maybe you learned about yourself or you learned about business in general since you've been in business for yourself. Like what's some?
Um, I've learned what my limitations are. I've learned what my limitations are, not only with finances and getting help from other people or outsourcing to other people, but also with some of my clients and some of the areas that I can identify as my expertise and that I can identify as that's not something that I'm an expert in.
Okay. So who's been your best, this is just in life period, like who's been your best coach or like mentor or?
I don't know who I'm looking at. I've been watching Abbott. Have you seen that? It's a television show.
No.
It's the Abbott School or whatever. And so it's a, I'm trying to be real brief. It's it's a sitcom, and they kind of talk to the camera during, they talk to the camera. So that's kind of what I was doing a little bit because I think you're fishing. I think you're fishing. No, you know that you and I have been friends for a very long time. I think since we were 11 years old, and I've always been able to depend on you. As to bounce stuff out in your words. I know you like to say the like to process stuff. And so even though that's not, I guess, your go-to, or it may be, but you allow me to be me and allow me to do those things, and have supported me through some low times and some high times and some confusing times and some bickering times. So I would say that you have been very influential in my life.
Well, thank you. If that's a question on this thing, that is not. I wasn't fishing. It's a question.
This me looking at the camera again.
It's a question. What's some of your favorite quotes or sayings?
Whoo! I have to just kind of say them off the fly, but I did just finish a webinar, and throughout the webinar, one thing that I said the whole time is, what you practice, you become good at. And so I think that is a very meaningful quote. What you practice, you become good at. So sometimes you might not know stuff, or I might not know stuff instantly, but if I keep on and keep on and keep on and keep on, then it will become something that I'm good at, and then something that's easy. And so in my practice, sometimes that's something that I have to remember, because I could be working with somebody and I can know the problem. Oh, your mom just died. Let's just say that's the case. Oh, your mom just died and you're having problems. But it might take them 2 years to actually come to, when my mom died, all this, just my life just fell apart. And so me, because I practice therapy and, have trainings and have education and all this stuff, I can kind of know stuff. And that gives me the confidence to go into business, to help people. But I also have to sit on my hands sometimes because that's not what my experience, when I'm helping someone whose mother has died, that's not my experience. So even though I might be able to say, oh, this is what it is, I still have to practice waiting and allowing them to go through their process.
Okay. Well, I know we're running out of time, and I know you got other things to do. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. One thing, so is it an offer? 5,000 other business owners, are going to see this. Is it some type of offer you might want? Is it maybe a counseling session they can maybe set up with you, or maybe somebody's went through grief or did anything like that might need your services?
I think especially with that, because especially with grief, it's likely not a one-time conversation. But I definitely would be, you kind of put me on the spot. You kind of put me on the spot, but I would definitely be able to provide a seminar or webinar or something of that nature about grief, to kind of help people understand. You said it was going to be.
And where can they contact you at?
But I want to put a limit on it, though.
They can contact you and get information from
a free webinar. But I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that. But I can be reached for anybody that want more information about mental illness, mental health, or grief. I can be reached. My website is renewedoutlook.org. And there's some site on there where you can reach out to me, request services, or send me a message. My phone number is 901-654-0607. And then lastly, my email is Camelia, Camelia @renewedoutlook.org.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.